Hey Team Brantford, Steve Babcock, Manager of Corporate Initiatives here. Welcome to another edition of the Brantford Sessions. Today I am talking to Rochelle Rumney, who is our Climate Change Officer. I had an opportunity to have a great conversation with Rochelle about a topic that I'm quite passionate about, which is the environment and how we go about saving this crazy world that we live in. So this is the first of a three-part series that will be primarily focused on climate change and our impact on that and how to reduce our carbon footprint. But before we get too deep into those conversations, first I'd like to get to know Rochelle a little bit better and learn about her new role in the city. So welcome to Brantford Sessions, Rochelle.
What was it you were doing for when you were working in the CAO's
I've
office?
always been in the same role. It's just I've had different, places within the organization. And I think when I originally started, it made sense that I was in the CIO's office, so I just had access to all the different departments. And because it does, get a bit siloed, right? If now I'm in the public works department, so I think that if I started there, people would be like, "Oh, that's only public works related and it doesn't impact, fleet or, I guess fleet is part of public works, but planning or
Yeah.
whatever else." But so having that sort of place there at the start, I think really helped and gave me a little bit more ability to talk to all the different departments.
So this is a new position that's been created in the city. It's the first time that this position has existed in the city. You're the only person in the role right now. What's that experience been like transitioning into the role, and have you had an opportunity to carve your own path and set your own course with this role?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the transition into this position's been great. Like the municipality and everybody here has been great to work with, and um, seems to be really interested in climate change work and what I'm working on. So that's been great. Um, but I'm also learning new things every day. Like it's a huge learning opportunity for me, and I really enjoy that. Um, and yeah, it's a new position for the city, but it's also sort of an emerging field in general. So it does really give you that opportunity to sort of carve your own path because there isn't necessarily a set solution or set way to do things yet, because it's new and it's changing all the time, and it's also very specific to each specific municipality and location. So yeah, it does give me the opportunity to sort of carve my own path and identify what projects I'm most excited about and sort of driving those forward, or what makes most sense for the city, and pushing for those. So I enjoy that element of it. It keeps things interesting for sure. But it can also be a bit daunting at times where, sometimes you're just like, oh, there's, a lot of work to do and big goals to achieve, and not necessarily like a defined recipe for how to do that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it takes some self-discipline, but also learning from all sorts of different other municipalities that are maybe have been working on this a little bit longer than us, and lots of peer learning. It's very helpful.
I love the learning message, and if you ever get a chance to talk to Brian Hutchings, he'll say the same thing. Like in his role, I always find it interesting that he's the first to say that he learns something new every day, and the day that he doesn't learn something is the day that he's going to resign from this place, because he's experienced all that he needs to experience. But I just think it's an important message for staff that there are immense learning opportunities in the roles that we do, and we should be taking the opportunities to learn every day and have this continuous improvement mindset. That's what it's all about, is being a little bit better every day and learning something. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I think it's a great message. You talked about partnerships that you have with other municipalities and the learnings that you're getting from those conversations. What's that been like? Like how are you connecting with these municipalities, and what are you taking away from those conversations?
Yeah, there's lots of different networks that connect people in this particular field, because I think there's they recognize that this position is sort of new, and you don't always have the municipal support that I do here, right? Some people are really out on their own, and don't have necessarily supportive counsel. So there's a lot of these networks that sort of help these positions through this process. And so we can sort of share successes and share challenges and resources, because there's so many, different grants and different guidebooks and different resources that are being developed all the time that you don't have the capacity to do all on your own or learn about. So we share things like that, and it's really valuable.
I'm so glad that you have those, that you're having those conversations. One of the things I love about municipal government is that we're not in competition with each other. It's so different than the private sector in that way, and that we should be embracing those relationships that we have with other municipalities. And it's just, the more brains we can put to this, the better outcomes we're going to end up with. And we really should be utilizing those contacts and resources as much as possible, especially in the work that you do, because we're all, even though every municipality is at perhaps a different stage, we're all in the same journey, right? We all have the same end goal in mind. So it makes sense to work together as much as you can.
Well, yeah, and especially when you're talking about climate change, and we're all, we have these global goals. So the more that we can help each other achieve that and reduce our emissions more quickly, the better. And I think, certainly in this field, people recognize that and are very willing to help, which is great.
That is great. I'm super glad to hear that. What would you say has been your the biggest change you've experienced since you've been in this role that you've had to adapt to?
I would say definitely, just working in such a large organization with there's the approval process involved. And my previous job was, like 4 to 8 people, depending on the year. So that's been a major change for me personally. And just, being a little bit more prepared ahead of time than, you can't submit something on the due date. You got to submit it a month before that so everybody can have a review of it. So that's taking some practice to get used to, but
and
good.
Is that the takeaway to that change? Is just you can never be too prepared for whatever it is for the work that you're doing. You'd have to do your background research and everything to make sure that you're as prepared as possible, because you never know what you're going to end up with for questions and where things are actually going to head.
Yeah, definitely that piece too. Yeah, that public area is new for me as well. So yeah, yes, exactly. Not knowing what questions you're going to get from counselors and the public, and so yeah, just knowing your stuff is really helpful. Yeah, and being prepared ahead of time, I think is really important.
Thank you, Rochelle, for sharing your story. There were a lot of really important messages that came out in my conversation with Rochelle, especially around the concept of lifelong learning and building strong partnerships. But the one that really jumped out to me that I want to explore further is just the importance of being prepared. One of the great things for me doing this and having absolutely no idea what I'm doing is that it's always kind of surprising and exciting to see where this goes. But there has certainly been a lot of times in my life where being prepared has really saved my bacon. And when I worked for the City of Burlington, I had the great privilege of working for an awesome leader by the name of Sheila. Sheila was the city auditor. She's very organized, very prepared, very detail-oriented, polished and professional. But she's also a very strategic leader, and I was very grateful for the opportunity to learn from her. And she worked very hard to develop my planning skills. Now, would I consider myself to be a good planner? Absolutely not. My gut still always tells me to go with the flow and see what happens. But there has been many times, especially when I'm managing projects and looking to mitigate risk, where being prepared and planning everything out has really helped me. So that's really my light bulb moment for this episode, is you can never be too prepared, certainly when you're looking to get positive outcomes. So stay tuned for the next episode. We're bringing Rochelle back and we're getting a little bit personal. We're going to talk about what we can do as individuals to reduce our carbon footprint and help the world be a little bit better of a place. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.